Imagine going to sleep with the same salary, the same savings, the same numbers in your bank app, and waking up poorer. No crash, no headline panic, no sirens, just a quiet decision made far away from you that silently changed what your money could do. This isn't a story about bad spending, or personal failure, or missing an investment opportunity. This is about how millions of people lost purchasing power overnight without losing a single dollar on paper. And it's happening more often than most people realize. Right now, governments around the world are dealing with the same problem. Too much debt, slow growth, unhappy voters. Raising taxes is loud, cutting spending is painful, defaulting is political suicide. So they choose the quiet option. They change the rules of money itself. Not dramatically, not publicly, just enough to make the math work again. Here's how it actually works. Most people think inflation is prices going up, but that's just the symptom. The real mechanism is simpler. When more money is created than real goods and services, each unit of money becomes slightly weaker. Think of money like a measuring stick. If you secretly shorten the stick, everything measured with it looks bigger. Your salary didn't drop. The numbers didn't change. The measuring stick did. This usually starts with a decision that sounds responsible. Stimulus, liquidity support, emergency lending, temporary measures, words that feel safe. Central banks create new money. Governments borrow it. Banks distribute it. Markets absorb it. At first, nothing feels wrong. Asset prices rise. Stocks go up. Real estate looks strong. People feel richer. That's the hype. But here's the uncomfortable math. The new money doesn't go everywhere equally. It enters specific places first: banks, markets, governments. By the time it reaches normal people, prices have already adjusted. Food costs a little more. Rent inches up. Utilities quietly follow. No single price jump feels shocking, but together they erase value. Overnight, your savings buy less. Your salary negotiates against higher prices. Your future plans shrink slightly, and the system never sends you a notification. There's a strange irony here. The more stable the system looks on the surface, the more pressure is building underneath. Because inflation isn't a one-time event, it compounds. A 10% loss once hurts. A 5% loss every year changes lives. And the cruel part? It punishes the cautious. People who save, people who avoid debt, people who trust the system. Meanwhile, borrowers benefit. Debts become easier to repay with weaker money. Governments owe trillions, and inflation quietly reduces the real value of that debt. No vote required. So this is why the decision is so tempting. It solves today's problem by borrowing from everyone's future. And because it's spread across millions of people, no loss feels dramatic enough to revolt. Until it does. History shows this pattern clearly, in country after country, decade after decade. It rarely ends in a sudden collapse. It ends in adjustment, lower expectations, delayed goals, a sense that life feels tighter than it used to, even when you're doing everything right. That's the psychological damage. People don't just lose money, they lose trust in the measuring stick. And once trust starts to crack, systems become fragile. So, zoom out. This wasn't just about prices, or policy, or economics. It was about who pays when the bill comes due. A quiet decision made the numbers look better. It stabilized markets. It avoided panic. But it shifted the cost downward, outward, and silently. Which raises an uncomfortable question. If money can be changed without your consent, if value can be reduced without a headline, then how do you know when the next quiet decision has already been made? And, more importantly, Will you notice before it reaches your wallet?